Grand Theft Auto has become a massive sensation. Almost everyone, from grandparents to even toddlers, knows what GTA is. This open world adventure series has come a long way, keeping generations of players hooked with its sensational entries. Each game offers gripping stories, incredibly rich worlds, cultural diversity, crime-filled drama, tons of side activities, and a growing sense of realism. Every new release doesn't just raise the bar, it changes the gaming landscape entirely. Now, GTA isn't just a game anymore, it's a cultural phenomenon. But how did it get this big? To understand that, we need to go all the way back to where it all started. In 1988, a group of 4 friends wanted to create a video game at a time when game development wasn't really a thing. They just wanted to try something different, and they did, starting with Lemmings, a puzzle game about saving these pixelated creatures that for some reason wanted to die. But then Lemmings became a surprise hit, and its success pushed these guys to turn their small team that they called DMA Design into something bigger. Mike Daly became their first hire, and soon after, Keith Hamilton joined the team. This duo eventually came up with the concept for the first GTA game, originally called Race and Chase, a game where players could be either cops or criminals. But here's the thing, it wasn't some grand, well thought out plan. According to Hamilton, and I quote, GTA honestly just evolved from trying things out, end quote. He added, quote, we just thought of fun things to do and then tried to justify what was happening in the game world, end quote. Dave Jones, DMA's founder, loved the idea of giving players the freedom to do whatever they wanted. He then pitched this concept to Sam and Dan Houser, who also kinda loved it. And that's when the incredible journey of GTA truly began. The team started experimenting with whatever ideas popped into their heads until they finally landed on a winning formula. A game all about being a criminal in an open world metropolis, wreaking havoc and having the city react to your criminal activities. Missions were added, weapons were introduced, and so were cops, fire trucks, and everything else that filled the city. But what really made GTA feel like GTA was the idea of poking fun at pop culture, especially American pop culture. The game started to make sense, and most importantly, it was fun to play, which is exactly what the devs wanted. Despite the team's figure it out as we go approach working well, the development process was pretty messy, and they often missed their original milestones for the game's release. But in 1997, after all the chaos, GTA was finally released, and by November 1998, it had sold over 1 million copies worldwide. Players loved it, and even though it was the first game in the series, it's crazy how many of the core elements we still see in GTA 5 that were already there over 25 years ago. The relentless police chases, a wide variety of weapons, running down innocent pedestrians, mafia-style missions, emergency services like fire trucks and ambulances. Heck, it even had a multiplayer gameplay where you and a friend could cause havoc together via LAN. Following the massive success of GTA 1, a rising publisher of the time, Take-Two Interactive, saw a big opportunity and made a big move by acquiring BMG Interactive, the company in business with the developers of GTA. And since DMA was under contract with BMG Interactive, this essentially meant Take-Two also acquired rights to GTA. Not wanting the hype to die down, Take-Two decided to capitalize on the momentum by releasing another GTA title just a few months after the first one. Now, GTA 2 was a bit different. It expanded on everything that made the original a hit, and visually it was surely a step up, but the setting took a sharp turn. It put players into a futuristic world. The core gameplay was still there. You were carrying out odd jobs, causing chaos and driving all over the place, but this time with some futuristic weapons at your disposal. Now, one key feature GTA 2 introduced was the rotation system. This mechanic determined which missions you could or couldn't access in different districts based on your reputation, making you either allies or enemies with various groups in the game. It was a cool idea and added some variety to the gameplay, but it didn't entirely hit the mark. As a result, GTA 2 received mixed reviews from both critics and players. While it wasn't a failure, it didn't have the same impact as the original. Despite that, Take-Two was confident they had a winning formula on their hands, so they set their sights on the next big entry in the series. But before development on GTA 3 could even begin, Dave Jones, the founder of DMA Design and one of the original minds behind GTA, decided to say his goodbyes to the team in Dundee. That's when Leslie Benzies joined the team, and alongside this new crew, they were tasked with creating the first ever 3D GTA game. It was a massive undertaking, but with the team's experience and solid budget, they were ready to deliver something groundbreaking. Slowly but surely, GTA 3 started taking shape, and it was clear that it was gonna be a game changer, not just for the GTA franchise, but for the entire industry. The game finally launched in October 2001, marking the start of the trend where GTA games would be console exclusives before eventually getting ported to other platforms, including PC. With GTA 3, the 3D era of GTA games officially begun. It introduced a gripping, cohesive story that felt much more meaningful compared to the random missions of previous games. This time, the missions were connected and pushed the story forward in a way that was new for the series. It was also the first major GTA entry that made players feel truly connected to the protagonist. You played as Claude, this silent yet driven character who was betrayed by his girlfriend Catalina and set out for revenge after spending years in prison. This backstory really helped to add some emotional weight to GTA's usual chaos. Now, being a 3D open world game, GTA 3 gave players unprecedented freedom to explore the massive and bustling Liberty City, earning money through all sorts of criminal activities while trying to climb the ranks and eventually exact revenge on Catalina. This game pushed the boundaries of what GTA was all about. A brutal parody of the real world packed with mature themes and, let's be honest, some killer dialogue.
You got any donuts? I want to eat soon.
For the first time, GTA 3 also introduced locked areas that would eventually open as you completed missions. Each district had its own vibe, from the bustling metropolis to suburban neighborhoods and posh, more upscale areas on the hills. So basically like a mini version of the real world. And for an open world adventure, it was packed with things to do. Side missions, vigilante jobs, messing with the cops, or simply cruising around in a variety of exotic cars. It was like a dream come true for the fans of open world games. Now, GTA 3 became one of the best-selling video games of all time, further cementing the series' status as a masterpiece in the gaming industry. It laid the groundwork for the next entry in the series, GTA Vice City. Vice City was developed by the same studio, DMA Design, which had now rebranded to Rockstar North by Take-Two. Following the success of GTA 3, the team was more motivated than ever to create a game that would deliver an unforgettable single-player experience to the players, filled with more crime, more drama, and even better characters. Surprisingly, it didn't take the studio long to develop GTA Vice City, largely because they already created many of the assets ahead of time planned GTA 3 DLC, which was later cancelled. In 2002, less than a year after GTA 3's release, Vice City was out, and as expected, it was met with seriously positive reception from fans and critics alike. Sure, much of the game was built on the foundation of its predecessor, but in terms of story and direction, it was a masterpiece. The game introduced fully voiced characters, cinematic cutscenes, and an unforgettable storyline that even your gamer dad would probably still remember. But what made Vice City truly stand out was how alive everything felt. The characters, the city, the atmosphere, it all looked and felt like a vibrant, living world. The designer had created a city that closely resembled real-life Miami, with its electric nightlife, beautiful beaches, and iconic hotspots like the famous Malibu Club. The perfect place to kick back, or, you know, grind away at unsuspecting NPCs with your chainsaw. On top of that, the gangs and events in Vice City were inspired by real-life counterparts, but with a dramatic twist. Influenced by iconic movies of the time, Scarface and Miami Vice, the game was dripping with 80s nostalgia, neon lights, and a vibe that perfectly captured the wild Hollywood movies-inspired city of Miami. Vice City introduced a whole arsenal of new weapons, but one stood out more than any other: the chainsaw. As terrifying as it was iconic, this weapon made its debut and sadly its final appearance in the series with Vice City. For more than 2 decades now, the chainsaw has been MIA in the GTA franchise. But Vice City didn't stop there. The game doubled down on everything: more weapons, more cars, more shops, more paint garages. It even introduced a wide range of flying vehicles, from helicopters to airplanes, including that military chopper that had me sweating bullets every time I tried to steal it from the army base. Man, those were the days. Vice City was ruling the open world genre, becoming the very definition of what an open world game should be. In its first year alone, it sold over 17.5 million copies, making it the best-selling title of 2002. While its groundbreaking experience was a major reason for its success, part of its immense popularity came from all the negative press. News and media outlets were all over it, claiming the game was too woke or that it incited violence, especially among younger players. Ironically, all that controversy only fueled the hype, getting more people interested in the game. And to no surprise, after over 2 decades, this game still inspires open world games and is loved by every gamer out there. After Vice City's release, Rockstar wasted no time and jumped straight into developing the next sequel, and this time they were aiming for something even bigger. Staying true to their approach of drawing heavy inspiration from real-world events, gangs, culture, and history, San Andreas became Rockstar's most ambitious project yet. It featured an expansive open world, allowing players to visit cities heavily inspired by real-life US locations. Now, with a bigger budget and more resources, the team even conducted extensive field research to make the game world as authentic as possible. In San Andreas, the focus shifted to people of color, and you played as CJ, a guy who had escaped a life of crime only to get pulled right back in it when he returned home after his mother's sudden death. The game took a deep dive into gang life with a plot that was filled with betrayals, revenge, theft, drugs, and corruptions. San Andreas wasn't just a crime story, it was an in-depth exploration of different cultures and survival in a harsh, unforgiving world. San Andreas didn't just expand the game world and refined the story, it also introduced some brand new features to the series that really shook things up. Relationships became part of the gameplay, allowing players to cozy up to a number of female characters, take them out on dates, and even spend some alone time in their homes once things heated up. It kinda added a layer of depth we hadn't seen before. Another big fix from Vice City that fans loved was the ability to swim. In Vice City, landing in water meant game over, but in San Andreas, you could swim and even dive underwater, opening up new exploration options. Now, speaking of exploring, who could forget the iconic jetpack? While a bit over the top, it gave players a refreshing way to travel, but the real game changer was the customization options. You could not only mod cars, but completely changed CJ's appearance. Want to bulk him up? Hit the gym. Need a fresh haircut? Visit the barber. If you wanted CJ to gain weight, simply eat more food. These features added a whole new level of realism, making the game feel more immersive than ever before. And to make sure the world didn't feel empty, Rockstar also packed it with tons of minigames. You could place bets on horse races, hit up the casinos, play sports, or take part in a variety of other activities. This gave players more to do besides just causing chaos with the cops, but the fun really took off in 2005 when San Andreas Multiplayer, or SAMP, was released. But what many fans still don't know is the fact that SAMP wasn't made by Rockstar but was a fan-made creation, much like the popular 5M for GTA 5. This allowed players to join different servers with custom rules, jobs, and entirely new ways to experience San Andreas with friends, which kept it alive for many years. San Andreas was a huge hit, but Rockstar had even bigger plans. They saw an opportunity to expand their reach into an untapped handheld gaming market with Sony's latest PSP release. Over the next 2 years, the studio shifted its focus to creating titles for this new platform, starting with Liberty City Stories. This game took the best elements from GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas and mashed them together to create a familiar yet refreshing open-world experience on this new portable device. It was a similar plot to what we'd already seen in previous GTA games, but since it was a PSP exclusive title, it was well received by fans. Then, just a year later in 2006, Rockstar released the Vice City Stories, a prequel to Vice City. This time, you assume the role of Victor Vance, an ex-army guy who turns to a life of crime, trying to build his own criminal empire in the chaotic streets of Vice City. While neither of these games were groundbreaking in terms of innovation, they were the best options for PSP players and became high sellers on the platform. Both titles received positive reviews, offering fans a portable version of the GTA experience that was exciting, fun, but more importantly, very successful. While Take-Two was busy expanding into this new market, Rockstar wasn't sitting on its hand either. In fact, just a month after San Andreas launched, the team had already started working on what would become the next major installment, GTA 4. This game marked the beginning of a new era, making the jump from the 3D era to the HD universe with a core focus on realism and detail, while staying true to the chaotic, open world gameplay that defined the series. When GTA 4 finally hit the market in 2008, it stunned the gaming world. Liberty City made a return, but this time with jaw-dropping detail that fully utilized the power of the then new-gen consoles, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. The city felt more alive and immersive than ever before. You played as Niko Bellic, a former soldier from Eastern Europe who arrives in America chasing the elusive American dream. But the poor guy finds himself entangled in a mess of debts, a rundown apartment, and a mountain of shady deals. But Niko's story took GTA in a grittier, more mature direction than what we'd seen previously. He finds himself working with all sorts of dangerous characters, from drug dealers to crime lords and even the Russian mafia. Sure, it had its moments poking fun at pop culture, but the narrative was darker and more serious. However, what really drew players' attention to GTA 4 was how shockingly realistic and lifelike the whole world looked. NPCs went about their day in believable ways, reacting to the world and each other in ways that felt really authentic. The weather system was dynamic, affecting not just the environment but also the behavior of NPCs. Driving mechanics were overhauled too, cars had realistic weight, making every vehicle feel different. The physics were next level, whether it was watching water ruffle when a helicopter flew overhead or seeing how the body flew out of the car after a crash. Rockstar also introduced a variety of new activities to keep players hooked, like bowling, snooker, darts, and more. But one feature that stood out, for better or worse, was the introduction of a fully functional in-game cell phone. You could use it to keep in touch with other characters, and it also served as a gateway to the game's multiplayer mode. While the multiplayer was a welcomed addition, there wasn't really much to do other than engage in races, deathmatches, and co-op missions. And the phone itself, it got super annoying as some of the characters would bombard you with calls asking to hang out at the worst possible time. Despite its shortcomings, GTA 4 became the fastest selling video game soon after its release, but still it just couldn't get as popular as San Andreas, and there are many reasons for that. One of the biggest reasons was for fans to make the jump to the next gen consoles, which were expensive at the time and not everyone could afford them. Some longtime fans of the series also thought it was less fun than the previous GTA games, who loved the series for its over-the-top action. But that was going to change with the next entry in the series, GTA 5. Before that, however, Rockstar shifted its focus to what would become their second most popular open-world action game, Red Dead Redemption. Released in 2010, Red Dead Redemption became a massive hit, even surpassing GTA 4 with overwhelmingly positive reception from fans and critics alike. While RDR was making waves, the core Rockstar team, including big names like Dan and Sam Houser, had already started laying the groundwork for GTA 5. After RDR got released, Rockstar went full throttle with GTA 5. They conducted field research, hired new artists and actors, and carefully crafted new features for the game. 5 years after GTA 4, in 2013, GTA 5 finally hit the market, initially releasing exclusively for consoles, but this time the hype surrounding GTA was off the charts. Within the first 24 hours, Rockstar has sold more than 11 million copies of the game, and in just 3 days time, they racked up over $1 billion in revenue, making GTA 5 the fastest selling entertainment product of all time. And there were good reasons for it. GTA 5 not only improved on every single game mechanic from the previous entries, but it also spiced things up with a brand new multi-protagonist formula. It became the first GTA game to let players freely switch between 3 different characters, each with their own unique personality, lifestyle, background, and even skills. Bones, both fans and critics loved how GTA 5 brought each character's individual story to life. It felt like they had their own personal dramas and struggles to deal with outside of the main plot lot. But of course, the main highlight that helped GTA reach the top were the missions, especially the heists, which became fan favorites for their thrilling and super fun experience. Plus, GTA 5's massive game world was full of detail and so lifelike that fans couldn't help but compare its iconic landmarks to their real world counterparts. And it wasn't just some backdrop, the map was packed with crazy events, side activities, wilderness, wildlife, subtle nods to pop culture, and even a freaking alien trapped underwater. You could easily spend hundreds of hours exploring the world without touching the main quests, just looking around and having fun with everything that the game has to offer. Rockstar really outdid itself, enhancing what made GTA special in the first place. The combat felt more dynamic, the driving mechanics, while less realistic, had a satisfying kick to it, and the NPCs were smarter and of course hilariously mean. You know, those moments when an NPC casually insults you for no reason, leaving you both annoyed and amused.
Hey, what's going on, dude?
Well,
Whatevs.
thank you for asking. You ain't getting nothing out of me.
GTA 5 was a colossal hit in both reception and revenue, but even that paled in comparison to the juggernaut that was GTA Online. Rockstar couldn't have predicted the sheer success of the online mode, which took everything from the single player experience of GTA 5 and just multiplied it infinitely. Over the years, Rockstar released endless updates, adding new vehicles, weapons, customizations, businesses, missions, and more. And let's be honest, they found a way to milk money from fans with all sorts of microtransactions for things that should have been free, and yet the players kept coming back for more, but we will save that topic for some other day. Anyway, GTA Online became its own phenomenon with no signs of slowing down. Fast forward to 2024, it's been over a decade, the longest we've gone without a new mainline entry in the GTA series. And from what we know, there's still at least a year more to wait before we get to see GTA 6 making its way to us fans. But at least we have a trailer that shows us we're going back to the fan favorite Vice City, Miami, this time as Jason and Lucia, a power couple inspired by the infamous Bonnie and Clyde. While there's still much more to learn about this upcoming entry, the amount of time Rockstar has taken and giving their history of delivering the absolute best, we can expect another masterpiece. Let's not forget their alleged $2 billion budget, and that pretty much sums up the entire history of GTA, I guess. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing, as I have plenty more about GTA to share with you guys. But that's all for today. I'll see you next time.